Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, how's everybody doing in the land of variant COVID something? Can't remember exactly what the hell we're calling it today, but I said on a previous show, pretty soon it'll be like tornadoes. We'll just give it a letter, we'll call it a name. It'll be, COVID virus Diana is now here to stay. So what are we going to do about it? I have no clue. But what I'm not going to do about it is, not minimalizing all the death and all the sickness. I'm not that guy. I have empathy. But I'm not going to live my life in fear, personally. So that's one good thing about living in the free market economy of the United States of America, at least so far, although some might argue it's changing. We do have the right to choose, mostly. And today, I am always thrilled when I can have my man Fletcher Ellingson on, because I believe mindset eats strategies and tactics for breakfast. And Fletcher has been helping me on a personal level, helping my agents and my business for going on a year, I think. And things are working. Mindset is important, it turns out. How you doing, Fletcher?
Doing excellent. Good to be here.
Yeah, Fletcher, in October we sold, not to be braggadocious, but I'm just proud of my agents. Mm-hmm. And you worked with a lot of them, and because of your work, in large part, they did this. But we closed, trying to get the numbers right, we closed $39 million in sales, and we wrote, deals written, $42 million in sales in October.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, and we're profit sharing. I think we're going to be pushing this year, and we're one of the only, if not the only, profit sharing company. We're pushing right around $50,000 back to our agents.
That's exciting.
In hard cash.
That is exciting. And I want to say something. You said not to be braggadocious. Not being braggadocious, but what we're doing is we're celebrating what's working, isn't it? That's what we're doing.
Well, my mission in Keller Williams is to change lives to the life people want and the life they deserve, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. And I think that it's going to be hard for people to compete with me because I'm 100% committed to that.
I have no doubt. And let's talk about commitment for a second, because that's the key. That is the key, getting committed. I think sometimes when people are not seeing the results they want in their life, one of the things I usually ask them is, well, what's your commitment? Is there a commitment? Because when we make a commitment, we suddenly have the opportunity to take responsibility for that commitment. And when we take responsibility for that commitment, that's when we experience our personal power. And we can't experience it unless there's first a commitment.
Do you think sometimes people are going so fast and getting bombarded by so much information, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that they don't realize they're not committed because they're not slowing down long enough to even have a thought long enough?
Yeah, I think that definitely plays into it. I think the other thing that plays into it is they have become practiced at hedging their bets. They become practiced at being hesitant, reluctant. We're practiced at it. I was like the master at this growing up. If you asked me to commit to something, I'd be like, maybe, we'll see.
I still do it.
Yeah. It's pretty safe.
And I like to go all in. So like the one thing that you can count on me is that I'm all in. But it's at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to put that in my calendar.
Yes. And that's the same here. And that's how I used to be. And where they'd be like, all right, be there at 6. And I'd say that means in my mind 6:15 or 6:20. I was just not going to commit to anything. But then, Russ, this is what happened. I kept on seeing mediocre results in my life.
Yeah.
And
there's that.
Yes, there is that. And that was, ironically, one of my biggest fears. I didn't want to be mediocre.
Well, it's a double-edged sword too, right? Because often we don't want to be, seen in the light either.
Yep.
We want to be in the shadows.
Exactly.
So on one hand, it's like we're torn apart because naturally we don't want to stand out and be vulnerable. And at the same time, we don't want to be average and we don't want to be boring. So we're like always confused.
Yeah. And then again, so that brings it full circle. That's where the power of commitment, the power of decision can really break you out of that. Yeah. Because until you make that commitment, you can't take responsibility for it.
Yeah, I always think when I go hunting every year, which I just got back from 18 days in the Rocky Mountains, I always think about you sleeping in a casket and you cutting in front of people in Starbucks and you doing all these things when you first started learning how to be the master coach you are now, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, like committed to uncomfortability.
Yes.
To get better at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and those are some silly things that you did, but it was probably scared the heck out of you.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely scared me. I was sweating, I was shaking, and on multiple occasions chickened out.
Yeah, right. So what I do is I fly in, I take my son-in-law and my nephew both, we fly into the Middle Fork of the Salmon River, drive to Cascade, which is just about 20, 30 minutes from McCall, Idaho. They drop us off on a dirt runway. It's about a 40-minute flight into the Rocky Mountains. And then from there, we set up a wall tent. That's base camp, and then we hike up. And this year, we went 6 miles, and then we shot an elk 4 miles after that. So it was one night I got back in, and I was thinking about you, believe it or not. It's 11:30 at night, snowing sideways on this cliff of a trail. I have these big horns of a 5x6 bull elk on my back with 1/3 of the elk deboned. So I'm able to go maybe 100 feet at a time, and then I fall down, and then I can't get up because the horns are so awkward and it's so much weight that I have to kind of get on my hands and knees. And then I get wolves howling around me, and this was a pack out trip, so I don't have any weapon. It's 11:30 at night, and I'm like, yeah, this is one of those commitments that I stop, I die right now, like legit. And I think it's healthy. I think, and my nephew, who's younger, and my son-in-law is younger, and my son-in-law never had the opportunity to do these kind of things. And it's been for 4 years in a row now. He's gone with me, and I've seen a change in him because you then, once you commit, like obviously I'm here, so I survived. And this isn't a fake wolf story. I mean, the day before somebody shot one between the eyes, and came into their camp. This is not it's unusual that they would do that. So I'm not
this is not hypothetical. It's legit.
Like legit. And you're 10 miles from somewhere, and it's just this, there's some commitment there for sure. And then there's pride or this feeling of accomplishment that comes to you when you're clear-minded and you're not looking at your phone and you're not, looking at your screen, and you're just in nature. And for me, it's like a mandatory sentence in the beginning. And this year I didn't work out. So this year, and I had 2 knee surgeries. I had one when I got back and one before I left, and 2 shots of cortisone before I left. So I have this crappy knee. And I was like, I'm doing it anyway. So I hope it holds.
Yeah.
But because I think it's so important that I test myself somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think, I think we are hardwired for personal growth. We're hardwired to expand. That's when we feel alive. That's when life is awareness. And when we plateau, it's because we have stopped increasing our level of awareness, right? And so we don't feel alive. And you are a person who thrives on feeling alive. I mean, we all want that, but again, some of us have become practiced at not feeling alive. We become practiced at feeling numb. It feels safer. That's not you. So you made a commitment to do something, and you put yourself in a position where you would have to make a commitment. And as a result, you had the opportunity to take responsibility for the commitment, and you did. So you took responsibility for it, and you made it back to camp. You're here today. And as a result of that, you got to experience this swelling of inside, like, oh, I did it. What you did is you learned how much more capacity you have than maybe you thought you did. And when we get to that point and we're like, wow, I've got that level of capacity, then suddenly other things become possible that were not even on our radar.
Yeah, I think you talk about it a lot, about being worthy, about being capable, about being flexible as humans. And I think we all are, right? But I think there's so much happening in today's world and so much polarization and fear that is manifesting itself so differently in so many different people, but it's like taken over in a way that people forgot that they're capable, worthy, and flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. People forgot, and they became practiced at something else. This is no surprise, I'm sure, to you, but everything to me comes back to the practice. It's the practice of being kind. It's the practice of being fearful. It's the practice of being upset, or it's the practice of being peaceful. So it all comes back to the practice.
Yeah, there's so many lessons too, and the accountability partners. As I had my nephew and son-in-law, I feel this responsibility to show them that they're capable, resourceful, flexible. They can do things they never thought possible, including kindness and generosity. So somebody, an older gentleman, shot an animal and he kind of lost it, and we stopped and said, "Hey, let's help. We're going to help you now." And when you're in the backcountry that far, that deep, that's a day. Like sometimes that's a day out. You just lost a day of your trip,
yeah,
or more, because you just got to do it. But that kindness, the practice of kindness and generosity, is part of your business plan, is part of your life. Man, those rewards are fascinating too, and I think that's a lost art. Hey, when we come back with Fletcher, we're going to talk more about the cosmos, I guess. I don't know what it's called. Mental toughness. I don't know, Fletcher. We're going to talk some more about something.
Sounds good.
Be right back with Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Fletcher Ellingson.